This week, coming up from the ashes.
And that candy is the corn of candy, candy corn.
The best candy there is.
and so a candy maker at the Wonderland, I think I said that right, Wonderly Candy Company in Philadelphia is sometimes credited with inventing the tricolor candy in the 1880s. But candy corn did not become a widespread sensation until the Goletz company brought the candy to the masses in 1898. Candy corn was originally called chicken feed, and it was sold in boxes with the
No.
It was sold in boxes with the slogan. Sorry. It was listen to the slogan: something worth crowing for. Really?
The best candy. You know, some people are gonna think you're joking, Zombie. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to From the Ashes podcast. I am your host, Arson is Clown. I don't know what I'm doing because Phoenix literally just thrusted the host responsibilities onto me. But
to do something like that.
Yeah, even though being weird. Actually, no, it's fine. I'll allow the creepiness because it's Halloween. It's Halloween almost kind of by the time this episode launches. But
that's right.
In any other circumstances, I would turn your teeth upside down.
Ooh, no, I'm just kidding.
I find that a lot of people are screamers.
Oh, really?
You know, it's like they don't expect me to be peeking in their window.
I don't know why.
I always told them that yesterday I wanted to play hide and seek, and they were always confused. And I don't understand why they screamed when I just showed up in their closet one day. You know, terrible seeker if it took you this long to find me.
Jeez, I've been in here for days.
But welcome to the Halloweenish episode, I suppose. I'm here with Phoenix and Zombie, as always, because nobody else is going to show up anymore. Good luck to everybody on their future endeavors. I'm tired of hunting them down and dragging them back to HQ. I really don't give a shit anymore.
You know, we'll see what the future lies for those that we cannot find. But until then, it's Halloween time, guys.
It is.
The once a year Halloween celebration tradition, whatever, where people dress up and steal candy from people.
Yeah.
Highway robbery. I mean, come on. Can't tell me how awesome it was to just. You didn't even have to put that much effort. Just put a sack over your head, and you could go door to door and hopefully score a king-size candy bar.
I mean, to be fair, you could put a sack on your head and go as Michael Myers, right? From part 2, I think it was.
Michael Myers? Are you?
Yeah.
What? I thought you were talking about like Jason Voorhees for a second.
No, my
before
bad.
he got the hockey mask.
Yeah, it was Jason. Sorry. I got Halloween on the brain. Sorry.
How'd you get your icons mixed up, man? What?
I don't know. I'm tired too. Look, I hardly ever show that I'm tired, but I am. Okay.
Okay.
There it is. It's been revealed, guys, on this episode. I do get tired.
Jeez, and what were you doing?
Not sleeping.
Well, I mean, that much is obvious if you're tired.
Right.
But what are you doing? Not sleeping, obviously.
But I just want to say this real quick. My world was turned upside down this week while researching the history of Halloween, because all these years I have been pronouncing it wrong, like completely. The festival that led to Halloween, I've been pronouncing it wrong my whole life. Like, for real, I've always thought it was Samhain, like always. Until I started doing the research. Do what?
I said, "You are incorrect, sir."
I am, and it really floored me. I don't know what else, what in the world else could be turned upside down for me next week. Like, my whole world is like crushed. So it's not Sam Hain. If you guys out there are listening, it's called Samhain, but it's still spelled Sam Hain, but it's a Gaelic pronunciation. So, yeah, that really threw me for a loop. And anyways, I'm off my soapbox. Go back to you, Arson.
And who knows, man? Maybe we'll find out that Santa was actually originally for Halloween.
Maybe that's why he always shows up in October, and more so than in December, it seems like.
Sees you when you're sleeping. He knows when you're awake.
Wait, that was you in the closet, wasn't it?
Well,
That-
that's
no, that
part
was-
of me.
That was
Maybe I take some inspiration.
Was
But as I
freaking-
always say, an artist doesn't steal, he homages.
Oh, that's a good one. I may use that if I have to be creepy.
You're welcome, because I stole that line as well. Anyways, in case you haven't figured it out already, dear listener, we are discussing about the history of Halloween, from its humble beginnings to its questionable comeuppance.
Diabetic ends.
Well, that's if you're too much of an indulger.
True.
Have you indulged?
Not
every day of the year.
Like, let's be honest, everybody's indulged at least once in their lives.
freaking zombies over there. Like, I keep Halloween in my heart every day and in my stomach.
He makes it a tradition every year to bury himself in candy and then like rise from the candy like a zombie.
Or a set of bones. We're not sure yet.
Well, he's gonna have to kind of rework how he does that. It could still be the same, it just wouldn't be as unique anymore.
That's true. Very, very true.
Maybe maybe break apart and have somebody like find you like a scavenger hunt. You just have like a 8 rooms full of like candy, and then like everybody has to find all your bones and put you back together.
See how well people know their anatomy.
That's just his way of getting the people to play with his bones.
Hey, look,
You're
I
gonna
got
put-
somebody to touch them at some point. I'll take
You're
what
gonna-
I can get.
You're gonna put his hip bone on his on his torso because
The
they
hip
think
bone's
it's a
gonna have
nice
the tooth
bone
and the
bow
skull.
tie.
This is spiraling really quick.
Yes, it is.
Well, I mean, Halloween, like, there's an argument that's made with a lot of traditions and celebrations as you grow up. As well, as you get older, some you know seasonal things are just kind of they grow old for you.
Mhm.
And I guess that might slightly be true. I mean, obviously, back then I was extremely excited for you know, holidays like Halloween and all that. And as I grew older, um obviously a grown man walking around asking for candy isn't exactly smiled upon as much unless you're like with a kid or you're going to a party or something.
Uh-huh.
But Halloween has always been one of those holidays where I just even if I don't feel up for it, I still really appreciate the atmosphere. Like it's not well, I guess given how fucked this environment has been lately, the weather can fluctuate at times, but when it gets all nice and cool, it's not like you're not freezing your balls off, but you're also not sweating like a drowning pig. Uh it's just, the weather's nice, the atmosphere is awesome with the leaves falling, and then with all the creepy stuff like popping up, like people setting up their decorations or YouTubers making another scary video or a topic of the new horror movie or whatever. I've always been like very excited about something when it comes to Halloween because it's just everybody loves being scared, you know? It's like one of those things that we take fears for like 1 month in the entire year. Obviously we could get scared whenever, you know, watch the horror movie that came out in freaking July or something, but it doesn't feel quite the same as when you're just doing it in October. It feels special, and I will hold on to this till the day I die. And the people that want to take it away from us can go drive off a cliff or something. I don't know.
So there's an interesting thing about that, and this is getting back to the whole Samhain aspect. And so I personally do celebrate and practice Samhain, and I'm not really going to get into any of the the actual practices of it because that's not really what this is about. But it's interesting that you say that it feels different and not just like the weather, because in those practices, Samhain is one of two times of the year where the veil between our world and the next is the thinnest.
You
If
gonna
that
say
makes
something about that, Phoenix?
was waiting. I didn't want to interrupt.
so. I mean, it does kind of create that atmosphere.
I was just surprised to hear that Zombie, celebrates Samhain.
Yeah.
That's pretty interesting. I've known a guy for all these years and just now figure that out.
You haven't seen any of my posts that I do most every year about it?
I would like to say yes, but no, I don't remember. I'll have to look extra, hard this year to notice. I'll say this: I love the Halloween season, kind of like the both of you. And but as an adult, I look forward to November 1st because that's the day that all of the candy goes on sale. So that's pretty much it for me. I like the creepiness of Halloween and how it goes, but I didn't know much about Samhain uh until I did a bunch of research, and I was ready to sit here and discuss a lot because to really grasp the history of Halloween or the origins of Halloween, you've got to go into Samhain because it's two parts. You can't have Halloween without Samhain, and you can't have Halloween without All Saints Day. The combination of the two is what makes Halloween Halloween. In my eyes at least. So that's what I found so interesting, and to be honest, Zombie, if you did want to go into some of the stuff, I would be more than happy to let you talk.
Okay.
How
So
about we break it up then? Maybe Zombie can talk about Samhain, and you could talk about the All Saints Day, Phoenix.
Okay. Yeah, that's fine.
All right, take the floor, Zombie, Mr. Bones.
so what kind of before I really get into that, what I'll say is what I find interesting, and it's getting this way more is about the holiday of the next couple months too, is there's that disconnect between Halloween and any of the religious or spiritual practices that are also celebrated on that.
Yeah.
So, like as a kid, you don't so much care. You care about the candy and the costumes and all that, but the spiritual and religious side of things are completely a personal choice and decision.
Correct.
So, I kind of feel that it's one of the few that you actually have that it's accepted,
Mm.
because you get Christmas and unless if you live in a completely, sterile environment where you don't have anybody. Yes, cat, I hear you. Sorry, my
Meow.
cat's bothering me for some reason. Um, I just lost my train of thought. Thank you, cat.
You're talking Christmas.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So, there's, people that are like, well, it's Christmas. You need to keep Christ in Christmas and all that. So, unless you live in a sterile environment where you don't have any of that, there's a concerted effort to keep those two practices for Christmases together.
Look, to be fair, and I'm going to say this
Not
with
for Halloween.
right,
Like,
but
you don't encounter that.
what I'm going to say is this. To be fair, yes, Christmas is supposed to be centered around, the birth of Christ. However, there's let me say this without getting everybody all aroused, or not aroused, or riled up.
Aroused.
Wrong
Whoa,
choice of
man.
words. Riled up. Because I myself am a Christian. And I think, Christmas is one of the biggest pagan holidays ever. So, because no one keeps it because of that. It's about that fat man in the red suit and presents and trees and this and that. Like I've discussed this with a lot of people, but maybe we can talk about that in a couple months.
We can talk about that in a couple months.
Right.
So
go back to what we were doing. I just wanted to let that be known because yes, as much as it has a Christian background, it's pagan.
So Samhain. So like I said, Samhain is one of two times of year that the veil between this world and the next is the thinnest. And if you want to do some research, then I will let you do some research and figure out what the other time is. But so Samhain is like a lot of other cultures that have similar holidays around this time of year. Like, Dia de los Muertos. I did in my research that both it looks like China and Japan have similar festivals around the same time, September, August, and it's kind of all the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
You're honoring your ancestors and those that have gone before you. So that's the primary focus of this particular holiday of Samhain is you're honoring, and not just like your family members, like it could be friends or maybe a pet or anybody important to your life that has passed on. Now there's as many practices as there are people under the sun. So typically, what it involves for me is when you're doing the rite or ritual. It's one of the few times where you don't actually call upon your ancestors. So normally you do, like when you're calling on, and praying, you're also inviting your ancestors to pray with you. Well, this is one time where you actually don't because you're honoring them and you don't want them to work. It'd be kind of like you invite your family over for a Sunday meal and like, oh, hey, by the way, I need you to make the mashed potatoes. I need you to cut up the green bean. You're putting everybody to work. You don't do that at this time of year because you're honoring them. You're thanking them for their contributions in your life that brought you to this point. I've seen some people will, when they have a meal, they'll make a plate of food and set it out for like their ancestors. Um, I've seen some cultures do that. Like you set an extra place at the table and leave the seat empty, as for this is to mark everyone that from our family that can't be here or has gone before us.
Hmm.
So, I mean, that's
Well.
kind of just a little bit. I mean, I won't, like I said, I don't want to get too in depth about, you know, specific practices and here's how
Right.
you have a rite, here's how you do the ritual, because that's not what this is about. But
Right. Right. Right.
uh
We don't need to know
it's
that stuff. We just need to know the
yeah,
origins and stuff.
I mean, it's and like I said, it's there's a lot of cultures that do this the similar type of, you know, holiday or ceremony or festival, and it's
Hmm.
all basically the same type of thing.
Well, it's interesting all of the things that led, to like once I explain All Saints Day and the real birth of Halloween, we could talk about how it made its way over to the new world, the Americas, and it's pretty neat though, the way everything happened. But all right, so were you complete with your assessment and talking about that?
Yep, I
Okay.
am finished.
All right. So All Saints Day began on May 13th of 609 AD. And the Pope dedicated a pantheon in Rome in honor of all the Christian martyrs, and uh, they had a Catholic feast for all the for all of like they called it All Martyrs Day, and it was established in the Western Church. And a pope later on, I think it was Pope Gregory, something or other,
Third.
the third, expanded the festival to include all saints as well as martyrs, and they moved the observance from May 13th to November 1st. So by the 9th century, the influence of Christianity had spread into Celtic lands, and it gradually blended with different Celtic rites and stuff like that. And on 1000 AD, the church moved or made November 2nd All Souls Day. And that's a day to honor the dead. It's widely believed today that the church was attempting to replace the Celtic Festival of the Dead with uh, basically the related church sanctioned holiday. And All Souls Day was celebrated similar to Samhain, with big bonfires, parades, and dressing up in costumes as saints, angels, and devils. The All Saints Day celebration was also called All Hallows or All Hallowmas, and basically it meant All Saints Day, which the Middle English term meant All Saints Day. I would completely butcher that word, Alholmese, whatever.
Yeah,
Yeah,
don't
yeah,
even.
yeah. But the night before it, the traditional night of Samhain, or I still want to continue to say Samhain, but Samhain and the Celtic religion began to be known as All Hallows Eve, and eventually it turned to Halloween. And I found, that the stuff that they did for that was quite interesting. Like the church wanted to put the spin to make it more of a like a Christian type of thing, and it all ended up blending together to create Halloween. So it's a pretty neat. There's not much on that to really have to talk about it, but it's kind of neat that that two different things blended like that to create this holiday. So, um, with that being said, what do you got for us next, Arson?
Well, uh, Halloween didn't really start all bombastic and everything. There was a, or at least with America, it was a small thing that people did. It was more like a party rather than going door to door. We're not there yet.
Right.
But yeah, over time, um, especially with the whatchamacallit, the immigrants from Ireland, or the Irish, because the Irish potato famine happened.
Mm-hmm.
Um, they came over and they kind of popularized it more. And so it was like a sort of thing where it was like slow going, but over time it did get like hugely widespread, and that's when that's when it really started getting popular.
Right.
And trick or treating was a small thing, but it wasn't like the main event as it is today. It was like more just scaring people and just wearing a mask and doing stupid things, which a lot of uh teenagers did. they were not they were not careful in the least when it came to pulling tricks, I suppose is what they would call it.
They did
They
weird
would
things.
they did a lot of weird things.
Yeah.
Most notably, they vandalized a lot. Um they opened up uh animal pens so they could just run away. I forgot what it was called, but they did call it something. um, but
Pig incisions.
they threw bricks through windows, and they were doing all sorts of stuff. And
They'd steal gates off of people's fences.
yeah, it was a whole thing where maybe at first it was like, "Oh ha," or "Oh you bastards," but after a while it was like, "Okay, we got to get these guys under control. This is getting ridiculous." So like after a while, they uh what should we call it? Why my brain not working?
The thing is they would basically, bribe, like they would ask for bribes to keep from doing tricks. So that's how the trick or treat was coined, because the trick was basically threatening, like, if you don't pay us in candy or whatever, we're gonna continue to. It was food and different things, and of course it
I'm
involved.
surprised the mob didn't capitalize on this more.
Right.
Just some just some big burly man just shows up at your door. So you going to pay us, or are we going to have problems? That's to have happened. There's no way it hasn't.
Yeah,
I'd like
but
to believe that some mob out there sent out one of their top dogs, put a sheet over his head or like a sack or something, and just sent him to the most recognized business in town. Yeah. So you
trick or
going to pay?
treat. That's funny. I mean, I you can't be too far off with that, because you know uh, that'd be interesting to see if we look that up. Why didn't you do that research? Daggone it. uh, but
Well, one, I'm lazy. Two, I thought you did it.
well, not about the mob. Like, I did a lot when it came to the trick or treating stuff. Like, the
I
reason
just come up
why
with the ideas, man.
yeah, the reason why they started wearing the masks and stuff, disguises, so the people that the kids that did the vandalizing and whatnot, the tricks, with quotations, which I actually did not do with my hands, as I said, tricks, um but they would wear the masks so they wouldn't, or the costumes and whatnot, so they wouldn't figure out who the kids were.
Yeah, who
And
was doing the deed?
right. So, but like, I'm telling your parents, Johnny, I'm coming for you. But
Oh, am I, Johnny? Oh my goodness, it was like Scream. Who could have done it?
oh gosh, but yeah, so um that's really like the real interesting part about like the trick or treating, because that really didn't get like organized too much until like what like the 50s or 60s, and that's when, because they had that like sugar, what was it, it was like some sort of a ban on sugars or something like that, or controlling on sugars because of the war. And when that happened, when that ended, they made like candy, like singular wrapped candy, and that's actually what boomed the Halloween idea.
Yeah, and they brought back trick or treating as a way to, like, that's another thing that pairs with the trick or treat. It'd be like, okay, well, here you knock on the door politely,
Yeah, don't
and
steal
we
the
will
door.
and we will open it and give you candy, and that's how trick or treating became a lot more mainstream.
Right.
Was because nobody wanted their doors stolen.
Why not?
Like, who steals a fenced like gate? Like, seriously, like.
Where did it even end up anyways? I wonder.
Well,
It's
if
probably somewhere still to this day unfound.
they
I find
paid
that
for it, then
offensive.
they put it back. I'd say, but gosh. All right. So, anyways, what were you gonna say, zombie?
I find that offensive.
Of course you would. But bumps. Oh gosh.
My
So
goodness, I can only imagine a terrifying hybrid where it's like a vampire, but he steals the door. So later
to
on,
steal your door.
he doesn't even have to ask to come inside. All he needs is your door.
So it's interesting you say that because there's a series of books, and in it, they have vampires and stuff like that, and they follow that tradition. They need permission to enter your home. Well, that permission is loosely obtained. Like if you have a welcome mat, that works.
Uh-oh.
Like think of how many homes you see. You see like a come on in, a welcome, or if you hear your family, all righty, and they can just walk on in. So
Work for us. Sorry,
you
go
need to
ahead.
have that mat that says "Go away."
Well, Chad got one that says "F off," which actually has the first word.
Yeah.
So
I
you
want to
see
get
it, right?
I want to get a special mat where it's just like, someone steps on it and like audio comes out. It's just like a British guy saying "piss off." Yo,
You gotta have
that's
that after it.
after that's after they step off the mat and they take a couple steps away. You
Delayed.
wanker.
Yo, why you gotta turn around like, what was that?
Must have been the wind.
It's a very weird, a very rude Matt. I swear. Oh gosh. So yeah, that's
Would it
pretty.
count if you have a window open?
Just hang garlic in there so you can't get through.
Ah, yes. I'll hang my garlic.
It's kind of like hanging stockings, you know.
Hang the garlic stockings by the open window with care, in hopes that Dracula would not be there.
In hopes
We'll
that
just
Dracula
F
would
off.
leave eggs in your stocking. Combining holidays.
Gosh. Oh gosh.
Eggs
So
that when you light them, they launch in the air and explode into sparkly colors.
you just like it because it explodes.
Hey, look, I mean, we're not getting into that, all right?
Who doesn't like a good explosion?
I mean, yeah.
Yeah, but he likes them too much.
Just because I have a stronger penchant for liking explosives than most people doesn't mean there's anything wrong with me that anybody's been able to prove.
Fair enough. I know I haven't been
Legally
able to.
in court.
Yes, in court. It's the
Yeah.
proper term.
Anything else is just slander.
Yes.
It's a witch hunt.
Gosh. Hey, if I recorded if I actually streamed GTA, I could prove it, but I don't have the evidence.
And that's why I said that.
But
You
hey,
know, but you don't have proof.
that's true. That's true. So
And then
it's
there's the whole thing with there's even more to it, like the whole like Halloween decorations and
Mhm.
the witches being a big like standout in it with like all of that superstition and then the
Trick or
cauldron
treating,
and, all
costumed
that.
kids.
There's just like there's so many layers to like the Halloween mythos. There's probably still a lot that we haven't even like properly researched that is
Right.
just in there. It's just like, man, it's so cool.
So I was literally clicking through my tabs, and
Yeah, you were.
one of my ads that were on the tab was like, like popped up. I had them all muted, but for some reason this one popped up. It was like trick or treating, and then that was it. That was why you were talking. So that's probably going to be in the recording.
Oh, fun.
Yeah, at least it's related.
Right. So
It's
yeah,
the ad break.
ad break. We did away with those.
Not entirely. I can still slam down my ad card.
That's true. You can. I did give you that right.
Well, actually, any of us can do that. It's just
Well, Phoenix did his.
Yeah. Well, that wasn't on purpose though.
Doesn't matter. You used it.
Oh gosh. So yeah. There's a lot of change to where it started to where it is now. Like, I bet if people from that era came here and saw the celebration of Samhain, basically, it'd be like, no, what, no, which I'm sure like real traditionalists still practice, Samhain, like, especially since Zombie, has that recognized. But like people over in the old country and whatnot, over in Ireland or Scotland and whatnot, any Celtic lands or whatnot, they I'd say they probably still keep it pretty close. But also,
I was like, here's an interesting thing about all that is so a lot of the ancient practices, and I'm not talking about just a couple hundred years ago ancient. I'm talking
yeah,
about like original practices of Samhain and stuff like that are mostly lost to history
mm-hmm.
because a lot of what happened, and this is based off of my some research, is when Christianity came through and they were converting people. They the Spanish Inquisition basically
Mm-hmm.
did so at the plague. So you had everything was switched to oral tradition. And what happens with oral tradition is stuff is kept secret. It had to be passed down from parent to child. And so a lot of the actual ancient practices and documents are lost to history.
Yeah,
So we have ideas of how they were done, based off of, the stuff that survived. But, if you want to go back to like, okay, well, how was it originally practiced? Well, it's our best guess because there's not a lot of, actual documentation that survives to this day.
yeah. Hmm. Well,
when you were talking about bringing the people back then to the modern day. I was more or less thinking, wow, this is the type of candy you're serving. This is king sized. That'd be like striking gold to them, man. You know how
um,
small the wrappings were back then?
yeah. Well, not to mention they probably use like molasses and everything, and if you've never tasted raw molasses, yeah, no. No.
Their eyes would quite literally bulge out of their costume.
Yeah.
King sized?
And that would be like the normal sized.
Yeah, but they'd be like, "This was made for a king." Like,
How do you all live so lavishly?
so
Obesely.
obesely, yes, very obesely. I'm not fat. I'm big boned. Anyways,
No, just that.
PHAT? No, maybe not.
PHAT.
No, FAT.
Oh dang! Oh, well, all right. Well, thanks for.
Hey, I'm there too. But I'm not.
All right, so let's talk about a couple other things. Like, what about like, did you guys research any of the games that were carried over for the Halloween tradition? Kind of like maybe bobbing for apples and stuff like that. Because you don't get bobbing for apples outside of the Halloween season. To be honest, let's be honest. You
Wasn't
know,
that like a Roman thing? It
Um,
was it was a here, just a quick excerpt so I could,
okay.
we can move it along. By AD 43, the Roman Empire had conquered the majority of Celtic territory. In the course of the 400 years that they ruled the Celtic lands, two festivals of Roman origin were combined with the traditional Celtic celebration of Samhain. The first was Feralia, a day in late October where the Romans traditionally commemorated the passing of the dead. The second was a day to honor Pomona, the Roman goddess of fruit and trees. The symbol of Pomona is the apple, and the incorporation of this celebration into Samhain probably explains the tradition of bobbing for apples that is practiced today.
So, did you just happen to have that pulled up?
No, I had to quickly look that up, so you're
I was
welcome.
gonna say, dude, you came more prepared than I thought you did because I just thought of that on the seat of my pants. Like, just that.
I had
Was
to type that fast. You made me do something I don't even do when I'm fully awake, and that's actually type something out quickly and read out an excerpt. I
that was
should
good.
kill you.
That was good. That was good. That was good. Yeah. So there you go. Bobbing for apples. Um, has just been explained. You know, what about floating in a big tub? You know, like no.
I've never heard of that.
Get the apple in the
Floating in a big tub.
tub. Well, you know, like it's usually like a tub of water or a basin.
You mean like a pool?
No, I mean like an actual bathtub. No, I'm kidding.
Well,
But,
I'm not rich, so I don't have a bathtub that huge.
oh gosh. So there is one more thing I want to talk about. I'm sure we got some other things to talk about too, but Arson, by any chance, do you know the history of like why we carve pumpkins?
I literally just heard about like this yesterday, and it's not coming to my head.
So let me explain. So the carving of jack-o'-lanterns or pumpkins, whatever. The
Gourds.
tradition of carving the jack-o'-lanterns originated in Ireland using turnips though instead of pumpkins. It is allegedly based on the legend about a man named Stingy Jack who repeatedly trapped the devil and only let him
Oh yeah, he got
yeah.
kicked out of hell.
Yeah, let him out on the condition that Jack would never go to hell. But when Jack died, he learned that heaven didn't want his soul either, so he was forced to wander the earth as a ghost for eternity. The devil gave Jack a burning lump of coal in a carved out turnip to light his way. Locals eventually beginning carving scary faces into their own turnips to frighten away evil spirits, which literally went from turnips. I guess they wanted to make it more big and bold and put it into a pumpkin. You know, I don't know, but that's the history of why
He upgraded.
yeah, upgraded to the pumpkin. I don't know. I don't know why pumpkins were seen as more. Maybe it's because it's more of a one of those like originated with fall. I don't know because but that's all I know about that is
I
thought
don't
that was really
understand
cool.
what type of person you'd have to be to get kicked out of hell.
Right, right. Well, I mean, you know, like in this instance of saying trapping the devil is why, you know, but to be fair, as stories go, that's a pretty interesting one, intriguing. Like there should be like a movie made about this or cartoon, you know, like a short, like 30 minutes short, like not ending well, but you know, hey. So but yeah, that's pretty much it for the jack-o'-lantern thing that I got. Like there's other things like, you know, seeing ghosts. The festival of Samhain marked the transitioning into the new year at the end of the harvest and the beginning of winter. Celtic people believed that during the festival, spirits walked the earth. Later on, Christian missionaries introduced All Souls Day on November 2nd, which perpetuated the idea of the living coming into contact with the dead around the same time of the year. So it's like a little mixture of so many different things. You know, like that great, like what Zhombi was talking about, like with the belief that that's the closest you can get to, you know, that day, the 31st is that. And, you know, it's kind of like merged on all, Hallows Eve. But yeah, I thought that was pretty interesting. And there's all kinds of other things. I got this whole list on like black cats. Why are black cats synonymous with Halloween, right? Do you know that?
Kind of.
What about you, Zombie?
I just had it. Well, I know there's the superstition that they're evil,
Mm-hmm.
but
Poor
that's
things.
well, yeah, but I mean that's obviously they're not. They're just cats, and cats are cats.
Yeah. Well, they've got
All
this.
cats are evil.
I agree.
They knock over my things and scratch up my
Yeah, but
drapes.
yeah, I mean, from what I've said, black cats have long been associated with superstition and folklore, and were often considered omens of bad luck.
Yeah.
And it just made their way into Halloween traditions.
So yeah, this dates back to like the Middle Ages, and it says the idea of being spooked by a black cat dates all the way back then, when these dark felines were considered the symbol of the devil. It didn't help that centuries later, accused witches were often found to have cats, particularly black ones. People begin to believe that the cats were a witch's familiar, supernatural entities that would assist in their practices of dark magic, and black cats and spookiness have been linked ever since. And it's kind of neat about that is because, people back in those days, especially witch hunt days, were such complete idiots that all they'd have to do is accuse like some simple person, they're a witch. Oh, let's string them up. Let's do it.
Some poor woman that took in a cat that
Right.
was coincidentally black, and all of a sudden, witch!
She's
Burn
feeding
the
it!
witch!
Yeah.
Well, it's like you have the whole like, well, how do you prove? Well, we'll tie a rock to her, and if she sinks and drowns, then she was innocent.
Yeah.
But if she floats, then she's a witch, and we can burn her at the stake. So regardless, you've killed a person.
Right.
It's a lose-lose.
Right. That's just like saying like you just didn't like somebody in the village, so let's just accuse them of being this witch and we can get rid of them. Like,
well, I mean, that's a lot of what happened.
Yeah.
It's based off of what I learned in school is that it would be, oh well, you looked at someone weird, and then a month later they got sick.
Right.
Oh, so she, this person's a witch, or you're fighting with your neighbor, and one of your cows gets eaten by wolves. Well, you're a witch. It's like,
You
no,
caused my
your
calf
cow
to
just got ate
die.
by a wolf.
Yeah.
Life sucks.
Right. But to blame all the badness on a cat, like saying that, look, I think cats are the devil anyways, but that's just my opinion, with the exception of Fluff. And I don't have to go any further than that. That Fluff knows who you are. So
Most
but
cats may suck at times, but they don't deserve that.
no, they don't. They do not.
And
They
that's a whole other thing, because cats really domesticated themselves.
yeah.
They were smart about it.
Well, I mean, if you look at it, it makes sense, because they feed off of like mice and small rodents. Well, they feed off of grains. So the first cats were basically barn cats.
Yeah.
They just gradually got used to human presence. Because like, well, I hang around these humans and I get food because their food is eaten by my food. So, whatever.
So, yeah, the moving down this list still, like, do you guys know why black and orange are synonymous with Halloween?
Nope.
Go ahead.
So this is a really simple, short one. So the traditional Halloween colors of black and orange also traces back to the Celtic festival of Samhain. For the Celts, black represented the death of summer, while the orange symbolized the autumn harvest season. And that's the reason. Like, I found that was pretty cool, like a cool autumn night. But yeah, that's pretty much the reason. Like, I don't. There's no more on that except for when talking about candy and stuff like that. I want to talk about Arson's favorite candy of all time, and why apparently it's, it is what it is. And this will always be synonymous with Halloween, and that candy is the corn of candy, candy corn.
The best candy there is.
And so a candy maker at the Wonderland, I think I said that right, Wonderly Candy Company in Philadelphia is sometimes credited with inventing the tricolor candy in the 1880s. But candy corn did not become a widespread sensation until the Goletz company brought the candy to the masses in 1898. Candy corn was originally called chicken feed, and it was sold in boxes with the
No.
it was sold in boxes with the slogan. Sorry, it was listen to the slogan: something worth crowing for. Really?
The best candy. Some people are gonna think you're joking, Zombie. Go ahead and crush their dreams and tell them that you're not. You're immediately going to be
like candy corn.
You're going to be the most hated member on this podcast now.
Whatever. Yeah, okay. I like candy corn, not the pumpkins or the Indian corn.
Yeah.
I'm a purist.
That's Native American corn. Thank you very much.
He loves the pure wax.
So initially it was just like autumn candy because of the corn's association with the harvest time. And candy corn later became Halloween specific when trick-or-treating grew popular in the U.S. during the 1950s. And take a wild guess how much you could get candy corn for a pound of candy corn in 1951.
It's no wonder everybody shilled that crap out. You got more of it.
Yeah, but take a nickel, okay? What do you think, Arson?
1 cent.
Man, you guys lowballed that big time.
Nobody wants it.
21
Even
cents,
back then.
21 cents a pound.
That is highway robbery.
But yeah, that's the history of
You gotta realize that back then it was probably made with like
I wouldn't pay 21 cents for it even today.
It was like knowing the ingredients they made stuff with back then. It was probably like, filled with some drug or something like that. That was.
Oh, it was definitely wax.
The ad. Let me see if I can copy this ad. Yep, the ad looks like this, and I'm gonna read it. It says Halloween candy corn, 3-color natural sweet honey butter flavored, creamy and delicious, as natural looking as ripe corn. I'm assuming that says.
What a load of bollocks.
I still say it's really neat when you actually put like the candy corn together to make a corn cob. Like I mentioned that like a few episodes ago. So
look, I won't lie, the aesthetic of candy corn is cool, but that's all it is to me, an aesthetic. It is not inedible.
Oh, it is edible.
To you, maybe. You undead freak.
Okay, like it is edible in the sense that it is capable of being eaten. Because that is what edible means.
Right? That is true.
Now,
I mean,
palatable is does it taste good?
I'll use this crap as a wax for my candles.
Then you'd have to smell the candy corn.
I'd rather smell it than eat it.
Oh my gosh.
Well, we know what we have to do if we want to torture him, make him eat candy corn.
Yep.
No!
That's like my mayonnaise. Like, nope.
I'll slip mayonnaise into your candy corn.
Ooh, mayonnaise candy corn.
Oh gosh.
Mayo corn.
Or candy corn flavored mayonnaise.
Mayonnaise nasty. Ugh.
I'll do a painstaking job of like getting like a small needle, hollowing out the candy corn a bit, and then filling it up with some mayonnaise.
Mayonnaise flavored candy corn.
Candy corn filling.
Oh gosh, that just made my stomach turn.
My point still stands. I would not pay 21 cents even today for this crap.
So, you guys have, I know you haven't because you wouldn't buy candy corn even if it was a different flavor. However, Zombie, have you tried the caramel apple candy corn?
No, because I don't like caramel apples.
Oh, well, what about caramel apples?
I don't like caramel apples either.
Oh, well, okay. Well, never mind.
You're not going to get me with that.
Well, I tried.
It's a bit strange. Yeah, I know like
There's
the
too much apple there.
Yeah, the caramelized apple is like something a lot of people like. I don't hate it, but it's just like it's like with
It's too
the
appley. Just give me
Yeah.
with some
caramel.
other things. I wouldn't
Too
go out of my
appley.
way to get it at all. It's just there.
Yeah. Well, okay. So before we wrap things up, which I'm assuming we're getting close to it.
How did Halloween die to you?
It didn't. It just changed.
Yeah, same, really.
Yeah, let's just like quickly time skip ahead. I'm pretty sure we talked about a majority of the history. I think we've gotten most of that nailed down. But let's just like move forward here into the modern day and just look at Halloween as it is today. Cuz as much as I love it, I can't be the only one that's seeing the problems here.
Well, I mean, the things that like it's marketed like obviously it's overly saturated when it comes to
Yeah, it's gone from like to me it's gone from an event to something that's just corporate now.
well, it's like
Something that
Christmas,
people can
right?
make something that people can just make money off of.
Yeah.
And
So
that's kind of what I was touching on earlier is that it's separate.
mhm.
Like, like I feel like if, you have the, hallmark holiday of Halloween,
Yeah.
the candy, the costumes, the decorations, all that. And, you have people that are like way into it, like you see the 20-foot tall skeletons in their yard, which, and all that stuff. And other people like, well, yeah, I got a few things that I put out in my yard, whatever. Uh, and it's separate. You have the Hallmark and all the other stuff, and there's that such a divide between it. Like there's no one trying to keep everything all together. Like, oh well, let's keep All Souls Day and Halloween.
Yeah.
You don't have that, which I kind of like in a sense because you can have the well, I'm going to I'm going to celebrate All Souls Day and All Saints Day, but I want nothing to do with Halloween.
Mhm. I mean, it's
Whether
super
whether people
commercialized.
like, whether it be for like, you don't have kids, uh, you don't want to give out candy, and you're like, look, I don't want to mess with any of it. So there's no real feeling that you have to.
Yeah. Yeah,
No,
and
nothing against people that want to put up the 20-foot skeletons and give out, 5 king size candy bars per kid.
mhm.
Make those kids real happy with that.
We salute your sacrifice.
Yes. The sacrifice to your wallet that it takes to do that.
You know what my perfect Halloween night is for myself?
Sleep.
Well, hell no. So
I sleep at 8 p.m. to wake up all nice and jolly for the podcast.
well, speaking of podcast, I will be doing a Halloween podcast this Thursday for Halloween, and that's Phoenix 045 at Twitch. Thank you very much. No, I'm kidding.
Like hell you will.
Bug.
We will be eating 5 pounds of candy corn.
So,
Be there or be square.
so my perfect Halloween night would consist of turning my freaking porch light off so no freaking little shit comes up there asking for candy.
Get low!
This is candy. For it. That's not yours. And then I go in, I slip into something comfortable, sit there.
They still
and
knock on your door anyway.
I'll sick the dogs on them. I'll sick the black cats on them. There we go. But
Where do you keep the black cats?
You mean
Wouldn't
you'll
you like to know?
throw like you'll tell the cat. Second, when that cat will look at you like,
Huh?
like, oh,
Later.
you're talking to me.
But yeah, I like to sit down and like one of my Halloween traditions is actually watching one of the Halloween movies, if not multiple. So or Halloween movies as in such like, okay, this is gonna really show my like not so manly side. But I like to watch like movies like Halloween Town and stuff like that. Something related to Halloween. I like to just, whether it's in Discord with friends or just by myself. That's how I spend my Halloween, and then on the next day I go to the nearest Walmart or Family Dollar or Dollar General or whatever and buy the 50% discounted candy. So that's pretty much how I do it. Most of the time.
Interesting.
Yes. Because I have no filling life. I just, yeah.
I feel like I would be slightly remiss if I didn't mention the year or the event that kind of killed trick-or-treating for me as a whole, and that is the clown incident of 2016.
Oh, yeah. Well,
Now, unless you've been living under a rock or something, I don't know if you want to explain this, Phoenix, or
well, to be fair, you got to realize 2016, Arson was still a teenager. So, he was a lot younger.
2016 was a wild year, man.
Yeah.
So much happened.
So the clown incident basically were these guys dressing up as clowns, and I there's more to it. So like people were dressing up as clowns and attacking people, if I'm correct, right?
They were basically just being like, they were going from like just being a public nuisance to actually like, nearly seriously harming people. Like some jackasses probably did it just to scare people,
Right.
and I guess that's fine, like whatever. But kind of went a bit too far with the way you do it. Like some were actually somewhat lighthearted, but others like actually like extremely fucking freaky. Like just being in the middle of nowhere at night and then wait for somebody to drive by to terrorize them.
Oh my gosh, that would be horrible. But see,
Like, who
I feel
knows? Like it is horrifying that it is very more than likely that a lot of disturbed psychopaths took that as an opportunity to do some serious damage.
Right.
And it was just like after that whole thing, at least to me, trick-or-treating as a whole just died. Well, there was the fact that I was getting older,
Yeah.
but it was also like, um, parents, at least here, were more strict about things, and it was a whole thing.
Mm-hmm.
And then a lot of factors of other things, and then after like I tried it one last time in 2017, it just didn't take. And after that, it was just more or less, well, if I wanted candy, I would just buy it because there's no way I could trick or treat anymore. It just wasn't. It wasn't something that I could feasibly do. I suppose it was. I guess unfortunately the end of trick or treating for me, which I really distaste because I love that a lot.
Mm-hmm.
So
I love trick or treating.
So how do you take a person that was 14 at the time and completely wreck him enough to change him enough to make it to where he makes his gamer tag an arsonist clown? There you go. Sorry, I wanted to get that in before you change the subject, Zombie. Go ahead.
No, so I was gonna say you reminded me. So years ago I saw these videos of like people dressed up as clowns scaring people. Nothing like actually hurting them. Just kind of like tossing a ball out from a corner at them and kind of emerging from some shadow. It's just a clown and people run away. And this one tag on this one particular clip was I can't remember. It was something about people you shouldn't mess with. And because there's basically, there's a real scary clown, toss this ball out from a dark alleyway, and this guy just kind of looked at it, looked up at the clown, palmed the ball, and tossed it back at him, and was just kind of like, I am so not afraid of you. And it's like the caption was either this guy is very mentally disturbed, that this scary clown doesn't scare, because it was around that time, that whole clown incident was going on, or this guy is such a badass that he's like, I know I can take you.
Yeah.
I'll
You're
honk
not
your nose.
you are not gonna scare me. And it's like you can see the clown actually got scared because like this guy is so just like not giving a fuck.
Was he
You-
dressed as Chuck Norris?
No, I mean
Oh,
that would have
okay.
been that would have been hilarious.
I gotta tell you, I listened to all of that, but only took in part of that after freaking Arson posted that freaking.
You could use that as the thumbnail.
Oh my gosh, I'm gonna definitely put that over top of. Oh, what? Oh, that made me laugh so hard. I had to mute my mic. like, it was just out of nowhere. Okay, so if you guys don't know what I'm talking about, just look at the thumbnail because that's what it's being used. But it's a big pumpkin, and it's got like it's carved out with like its mouth like kind of like almost like a pear shape, and it's got a big old. Well, I'm gonna say it's a cigarette.
It's a cigar.
Big old cigar in his mouth, and he's just like, I mean. That is hilarious. Oh my gosh, I lost my crap right there for a second. like,
Yeah, the final thing from the clown thing, it reminded me of that one video of like the guy who just ran over the clown. This is one of those videos where like the clown is like standing in the middle of nowhere. So I obviously doubt that he's just like being freaky for the fun of it. So he was running towards the car, I think, and I think he just got run over.
Play stupid
And
games,
it,
win
it
stupid
turned
prizes.
serious for
Yeah.
a second. It turned serious for a second because I think the guy who was driving was considering doubling back over to like finish the job. I don't know if there was more people in there, but I guess like they were telling like don't do it. But I don't know. Eventually he relented and then he just kept driving. So
Serious case of mess around and find out right there.
No kidding.
It's like for real. Oh my gosh, I have
Clown
to
had it
look up that
coming too
video.
because I think he had a weapon too. So yeah, he was really
Yeah.
asking for it.
Yeah, it was actually a little horn, like that was his weapon.
He was horny.
Horny,
But yeah,
he was
as
floored, that's for sure. I got that out before Zombie could, so
The realization hit him like a ton vehicle.
like a half-ton vehicle.
Eh,
I don't know.
I was gonna say a ton of bricks, but it wasn't a
Right.
brick.
Well, a ton's a
Yeah,
ton, right? So
that is the clown epidemic. But as for today, I suppose, I don't know. I just feel like maybe I'm just not paying attention, but I feel like trick or treating as a whole has kind of died down. I don't know. It just feels like it isn't as big of a deal as it was anymore, and that makes me sad because I feel really bad for the kids that
yeah.
won't experience the Halloweens that we did because it was more than just going door to door. It was like an event from like, hanging out with your friends, again, watching scary movies and like, that whole thing that at school, it was fun. It was a whole thing that, you everybody like really enjoyed. And I can only imagine like how rowdy it was back then, before it was more modernized. I would have liked if we ever had a time machine, I would have definitely liked to go back and experience an old-fashioned Halloween. That definitely was probably a ride. But
Maybe see the mobsters knock on the door, trick or treat.
yeah, we could finally put our theory to the test to see if a mobster really did try and
That's right.
shake down an establishment.
Like
But
the
yeah,
candy
as it
is made by
stands,
money.
yeah. But as it stands today, it's I feel like it's more or less like just watered down. Aside from like parties and all that. But
Yeah.
that's just that.
It really is a ghost of its former self, to be honest. No pun intended, but like, well, maybe a little pun
Yeah.
intended. But for real, it is kind of like it's not as good as it once was.
You have the whole, societal, what's acceptable.
Yeah.
It's like it's not really acceptable to, okay, I'm going to go up to them and, okay, if you don't give me candy, I'm going to take your fence.
Yeah.
Or your gate. It's kind of like,
Right.
okay, well, you have to just like, okay, well, yes, people will play tricks, like toilet paper somebody's house or egg it or whatever.
Yeah.
But taking somebody's gate, I mean, that's like you got to bring tools for that. Like you have to go out and like, okay, I got to grab my drill, some screwdrivers, maybe a saw. That's a whole lot
Planned
of
out.
work. Yeah, so it's like, and people don't really trick somebody's house if they don't give them candy.
Right.
Most of the time that's done by like teenagers or other delinquents, and they're just doing it just to because that's what they do.
Yeah, but do you know how frustrated you'd have to be to actually give in to their demands? Like, oh my gosh, I couldn't imagine being that person that was taking in all of the tricks. That time I did do air quotes.
It's like, especially nowadays, like, can you imagine like going trick or treating and being like, trick or treat? I'm sorry, I don't got anything for you. Well, if you don't, I'm gonna take your gate. What? Yeah. I'm gonna take your gate.
The modernized version, all you hear is the power tools outside.
or even better yet, I'm gonna steal the catalytic converter off your vehicle.
I'm gonna take your daughter. What?
What?
I don't know. What? Like, go ahead. I didn't like her much anyways. No.
I can make another one.
But
this took a dark turn.
Yeah, it really did. But I will say this, as a grown adult, when it comes to Halloween, I did love being able to take my daughters, trick or treating and stuff like that, even though they still go trick or treating at 20 and 21 respectively. So yeah, they do. I mean, to be fair, a lot of people are saying nowadays is like, you know what? People that are like young adults like that still go trick or treating, it's better that they're trick or treating than doing something else like ridiculous, like drinking or partying, and
Yeah.
So it's a better time to just give them the candy than it is to refuse it, and then maybe you're the reason why they went drinking. Yeah, I'm talking to you, Mister or Miss or Mrs.
Did you just assume my gender?
I assume. Oh gosh, you're just a pile of bones, so no one cares.
You can't assume like that, Phoenix.
Hey, I said most of them, okay? Anyways.
But in all seriousness, I guess that still proves that even though it's kind of isn't what it used to be, Halloween never dies.
That's right.
Because it's already dead.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that's always going to warm my heart, even though a lot of things aren't what they used to be, and they never will be that again.
Well, I mean, that's part of
a lot of people will always still keep the flame lit.
Mm-hmm.
And as long as that keeps burning, we can all celebrate Halloween in frightening peace.
That's right.
They'll keep the pumpkin lit.
So, with
Keep
that
the
being
bonfires
said,
going.
we've come to the end of our time. Thank you for joining us on this Halloween episode. This marks the end of our spooky episodes, so you can expect slightly more traditional episodes to come back, like spoofs and other things. But don't count Halloween out just yet. Who knows? There might be something over the horizon, over that hallowed eve horizon that still might rear its head later on. But until that happens, that is it for us. We will catch you
Can I say something? Can I say something before you end completely?
I'm not really gonna end it. I had more to say, but if you want to get it out of the way, go ahead, man.
Well, I want to get this out of the way real quick. So, guys, I know a lot of you have been watching our shorts, and the 8th episode of our DVD tier list had aired on Friday, and we do not have any more shorts that will be able to air next week. But we're working on something, unless something changes between now and the end of the week. Right as of right now, we will not have a short dropping on Friday, but in the future, like in the next couple weeks, we're gonna have plenty to post. We're going to be taking that into some really nerdy things. I can't do the little very well, like Arson. That exactly. But we're gonna go into more of, a Star Trek themed esque short for the next 4 or 5 weeks, maybe 6. I don't know. We haven't figured that out yet, but
And that's all you need to know.
yeah,
Don't tell them anything else.
Look forward to that in the future. So, all right, back to the ending, Arson.
But yes, enjoy your Halloween, people. As we've said in another episode, spook responsibly. If you're gonna go party, be safe. That's the most important thing of all. As long as you spook responsibly and don't steal any gates, don't do anything stupid. Or if you do steal gates, make sure you're wearing your gloves.
Yeah.
Steal responsibly.
Just be safe, because it is, as much as we've been talking about the good of Spooky Month, there is a lot of bad. It's not all
candy corn,
sunshine and rainbows.
Ghosts and ghouls.
Yeah, ironically.
It's not all candy corn.
It's not it's not all king size candy bars, there are some bad candy corns out there. So again, reiterating for the last time, be safe, spook responsibly, have a spooktastic Halloween, and we will catch you next week after the festivities have ended. Goodbye, and that's it. Somebody say something to cut out the episode.
Don't forget to check out our link in our description.
Oh, there goes the shilling again. Just cut the episode already.
No, you cannot make me. I have control. Just make sure to check out if you want to do anything from You're such a child.
Nobody wants to hear this, man. We have countless other episodes where we can say that. Not this episode.